Welcome back to Better Than a Pill. Today I'm here with Amanda, our functional medicine practitioner. And I just want to say before we dive into today's episode, which is going to be awesome, I just want to give credit to God and just express my gratitude for this platform, for the Better Than a Pill podcast, which was born from the belief that we can be proactive in taking control of our own health and wellness, exploring holistic solutions in addition to what mainstream medicine has to offer. And I'm excited about today's episode because we all need it. We're going to be talking a little bit about mental health, and we're going to talk a little bit about the things that can help us outside of a pill for our mental health. So we're going to get started. And I know both Amanda and I have lots to share about this, but I'm going to let you take the wheel to start, Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, so mental health, I know you have a lot to share with us. And I just want to say a little bit about mental health and insulin resistance. My passion is to help people restore metabolic health naturally, and insulin resistance is at the root of most chronic illnesses, including depression, anxiety, cognitive declines like dementia, Alzheimer's, brain fog, migraines. All these are related to insulin resistance. And insulin resistance contribute to chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, and both play a role in linked to depression and anxiety. Insulin resistance and blood sugar dysregulations, right? So many people have 93% adult Americans are considered pre-diabetic or have insulin resistance. And blood sugar dysregulations is directly linked to our mood swings. Like when you eat, right? When you eat, all food will spike glucose, will spike insulin, and that will lead to a spike in glucose level, and then it will crash, and then a spike and a crash. So this is a normal pattern for most adult Americans due to the standard American diet, right? High carbs, high sugars,
Yeah.
processed foods that leads to insulin resistance. And another point I want to make is that most of the neurotransmitters are being produced in your gut, especially the serotonins, the happy hormones, and then the 50% of the dopamine, the productive hormones, the feel good hormones. All right. So that's produced in the gut. And many of us have gut issues, have acid reflux, have leaky gut, have dysbiosis, and this will influence the amount of neurotransmitters being produced, and that essentially will affect your cognitive functions, will lead to more depression, anxieties. And I've seen this as a pharmacist. Antidepressant medication is one of the fast mover medications that I dispense on a regular basis.
Yeah, it's fascinating to me how insulin resistance even ties into mental health
Mm-hmm.
and how also our gut being healthy ties into our mental health. We don't normally think about those things as being related at all. Like except on our podcast, we're going to talk about her. But but most people walking around are not being informed about these things, and a lot of people are being put on medication. Would you say, because you dispense it all the time, right? So you're seeing people, I would say a lot of the problems stem from, let's just say two basic ones we'll pick today, anxiety and depression. They're being put on medications. So let's talk about some of those medications that they're being put on or people are taking. Sometimes they're necessary, but sometimes they're not, right? That's one of the reasons we're here today. I know myself as well, always wanting to choose the path where we can do better things for body. Because the thing is, a lot of the medications have side effects, right?
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
I do want to say that there is going to be a time and place where we may need medication in our life. And I know for me personally, yes, I've had to be on certain medications in the past and in general been told by a doctor, you're going to have to be on these forever. And that's just not the case. Because for me, that's been my experience. And one of the reasons that drives this podcast. So let's just look at, yes, this could be something permanent, but it also could be something that is not permanent. And there could be other things that we begin to do for our body, like address insulin resistance, address the,
Address what foods we have
yes,
control, what we put in our mouth, what food we just choose to eat. And
yes,
I know sometimes it's hard because of the food industry. They created these foods that's very addictive because they're removing fibers from the food. So now we have highly processed carbohydrates, sugar added, salt added, fat added to it, all the preservatives and additives to these foods that when you eat, it creates this addictive reward. It stimulate your dopamine release. So you feel good and it tastes good and you want more of those food. But what those foods are very inflammatory. They don't feed your cells. They create this environment that bad bacteria, pathogens thrive off of this type of environment. And so we have choices. And also those foods, those carbohydrates and sugary processed foods, they spike, they spike your glucose level and your insulin levels and leading to very inflammatory state and leading to insulin resistance. So the goal is insulin resistance is 100% reversible, right? Even type 2 diabetes is reversible. We've seen it. I've helped my mother-in-law reverse her type 2 diabetes even after being a diabetic for 15 years and
hmm,
got off some medication. So these conditions are dietary diseases. These are like all these conditions. I don't know, I guess if people can see, I have a poster behind me that insulin resistant is linked to
sure.
many of conditions. And if we address the root cause, if we teach people how to reverse insulin resistance, we can potentially resolve most of those chronic illnesses and get people off medications.
Right. Yeah. So it's fair to say there's a lot of things linked to insulin resistance, and we're targeting in on just today because we're on here a lot talking about these things, the mental health aspect. So, like you're saying, number one, your experience as a functional medicine practitioner, you see this all the time. You're trying to get people to eat real whole foods. So, choosing to get away from, like we say, and like we said, and I think we need to keep saying it again because the more this gets out there, the more people hear that we're not going to be 100% perfect, but if we can begin to implement real whole foods, the best that we can into our lives, that's a number one line of defense. Of course, I'm going to put in a plug for movement. I think that one of the benefits when it comes to our mental health is just moving. For me personally, and anybody that I'm working with, I'll say 10 minutes matters. You've heard me say this before. Get out there and whatever it is. Yeah, we need things to sustain our body, but let's just talk about getting moving, walking, biking, whatever it is, 10 minutes, that's going to release endorphins. That's the whole purpose here. So
Mhm.
we can regulate things like depression. If we can just get out and move, boy, I know for me, that makes a world of difference. Taking action, movement is like, for me, always the number one go to above the food because that puts me into action. And then I may desire to make healthier food choices, right? Because our mind is, we've got those endorphins in a healthier way being released. And also people that are listening today that may also struggle with anxiety. Myself, when I'm anxious, when I move, that's just amazing. It's better than a pill for me to be able to get that anxiety out. And then so then we have that lifestyle one that's free for all of us here. And I'm going to encourage every single one, everybody listening to just move 10 minutes. I don't care if it's in your house. I know a lot of us are busy. I know a lot of me might be moms listening, whatever it is that get up. I talk to people all the day. I just moved in my house and I got 10,000 steps in. Guess what? That counts. We don't need to go to a gym and crank out 2 hours on a treadmill. That's old. Let's move on from that mentality. That doesn't serve us. So let's just think about taking care of our bodies, moving for health reasons, mental health being one of them, eating good. And what I love you share, because I know you've shared this before and I've heard this before from other practitioners in your field, is that we want to be careful of the blood sugar spikes.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I was sharing with you earlier, we were talking about this, and I had my lunch and
Mhm.
then I got really tired. And I just wanted to go to bed. But that's not going to happen. And so I drink. So one of the things that we talk about a lot on here is the Unimate tea. So I drank my Unimate tea, and I'll tell you what, mentally, for my mental health, that does me more good than anything. I now have more energy. I feel like I can be productive, and I didn't have to have a cup of coffee. This is something natural that's affected my mood, affected my mental health, and is allowing me to show up here for our podcast. It's allowing me to, so it is a big deal. And so I want to pick your brain a little bit about how does something like that work? Because it's been working for me in many ways. And so this
Mhm.
is a very important topic.
Yes, I know, absolutely. The tea is actually, this tea is pretty amazing. There's some beneficial compounds in there that can help boost the moods. The main one is theobromine. Theobromine helps to improve circulation, and it's theobromine exists in dark chocolate and it also exists in this tea. So it helps to improve your moods, improves your stamina, improves circulation. So I've been able to help people get off Lexapros, which is an anti-anxiety, antidepressant medications, and Prozac once they start on this protocol. So it's pretty amazing product. And just to go back a little bit, you're talking about movement and how that boosts your moods too. Absolutely. I love movement, and it's and I just want to touch that when you move, when you exercise, it also helps to stimulate the production of GLP-1s, the hormone that kind of suppress your appetite so that you feel less hungry. So it reduces your cortisol levels. And not only that, muscle, when you move and when you have more muscle, create more muscle. Muscle is the biggest glucose consumer. So that in itself helps to lower your glucose levels. So it also helps to improve insulin resistance and metabolic health. So it all works together, right? The
Yeah.
movement, the stress reduction, and but going back to this tea, yes, it's the theobromine that's in this tea that causes elevate your moods and
That's
make you
awesome.
feel good. That's why like our protocol is called the feel good, right?
Yeah, it does. It's amazing to me because when we first started talking or whatever, I just was not open-minded to the fact that that could be so helpful. And just taking the tea for me every morning is the first thing that I drink. And I can't tell you what a lifesaver that is because I'm really tired at whatever it is, 5 in the morning. And it just, my mood, it works. It's amazing. And what I love, and I will share this again, is I'm not getting jittery. I don't have the
Yes.
and if you like coffee, you can still have coffee. It's not like there's a right or wrong here, but I love that for me personally, how it works for me. And now I understand it's the theobromine. I do want to ask you a question.
Mhm,
I hear a lot that, so I'm still, and I think a lot of people listening to may have this and not understand the GLP-1. That is a
mhm.
hormone that is released and
In
that
your
helps suppress our appetite. Okay.
Yes, it releases in your gut, so in your colons to stimulate to signal your brain that you're not hungry. It also helps to slow down gastric emptying. So when you're eating, it allows the food to stay in your gut a little bit longer. That's why people using the injections at a high dose, it can causes gut paralysis, right? Because food's not moving down the digestive tracts. And now you have a problem because food's not supposed to stay there
Yeah.
for that long. For some people, it stays there for weeks and a month, and then it get paralyzed gut. Now they have to go to the hospital and have surgery.
Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, that's sad. I can't even tell. That's a whole nother topic. I was working with a
Mhm,
client today and just, I'm so upset. And that's another topic. We can talk about it later, but with the drugs that they were on and what it's
mhm,
done to their body and just
mhm.
long-term damage. So
Yeah.
again, that's what makes us show up here today. And we talk about that other component now of the gut health and how that talk like how having a healthy gut, these it's going to help with our mental health as well. And I think I'm going to let you speak on that in a second. I just want to say one thing. I think what I've learned is that none of these things happen overnight. If you are sitting here thinking that these are going to happen instantly, then I think I think for me, this is what I've learned, that things take time. Each of us are uniquely made. It may happen sooner for some people than others, depending on what's going on with our system, but it's all of these things can help, and nourishment, proper food, supplementation, the product that we choose to align ourselves here on the Better Than a Pill podcast for a reason, because I know that it's working for me personally, or movement. Those things all take time. It's not like just going to happen. You're going to have a healthy gut instantly, or you're going to balance out everything. Would you say that there's some truth to that?
Oh, absolutely. It's like many of us did not get to where we are today in a week, in a month, in a year. Some of us, it took us decades to get here, right? It took me
Right.
like 30 years to get leaky gut, to have a leaky gut. So I had leaky gut, I had psoriasis. So my gut was so damaged to the point that I couldn't even eat solid foods without triggering an inflammatory processes, without having bloating, abdominal distension, and flare in my psoriasis.
Wow.
So, yes, so this is not a quick fix. What we're teaching people here, what we're offering with this tool is to help you to be able to repair your gut, to allow your body to come back to homeostasis, to allow your body to heal from the root by providing it proper nutrients, by allowing your gut to rest and repair through intermittent fasting.
Right.
Because, like I mentioned at the beginning, that 90% of your serotonin is being produced in your gut. 50% of your dopamine are produced in your gut. So these are the neurotransmitters that um, influence your mental health, right?
Right.
So damaged gut, if we have a leaky gut, that's going to cause increase in inflammation. So damaged gut lining allows the harmful bacteria, toxins, and undigested food particles to enter your bloodstream and trigger your immune response. And that's why we get inflammations and have all kinds of symptoms when
Right.
you have leaky gut, and that can trigger your autoimmune flare.
And also affect our mental health, which is what we're right.
Right,
So
because
that,
when you have leaky gut, when you have gut dysbiosis, the amount of the neurotransmitter productions will be decreased. So
okay.
that's why have medication to supplement with those neurotransmitters to help. But what if we just address it with our foods, with intermittent fasting, with some targeted supplements, using some tools to help us repair our gut.
Yeah.
And from that, we can restore our gut health and then improve our mental health.
Yeah, it's
Right?
great because you're right. It's like we are going at it. We want to go at it from all angles. And like the way I look at obviously our food choices, our movement, our the intermittent fasting, which we've talked about before, which just a quick reminder, that can be no snacking, guys. That can be just eating 3 meals a day. That can be
Mhm.
for some people not eating breakfast. It can be lunch and dinner. It can be longer than that. Listening to your body. We did a whole episode on that, and you can listen to that episode and we'll probably talk about it again, because what Amanda's just said and what I'll reiterate and what I've learned to be true is our systems need to rest from having any food in them. And that's how our gut can get restored, from not having to work. And even
Mhm.
like we've talked about, we won't go off on a tangent, but the snacking, which we all thought, I thought was good, eat when I'm hungry, is not. That's just a relearning affecting our mental health. And it's for me, that definitely is working. Yeah, there's so much here. And
Yeah.
just if you heard something today that listening to that you are struggling with mental health issues, and hopefully you're able to take away something from this episode that can help you. If you are interested in the Feel Great system, which does help you feel great mentally,
Mhm.
which is true. It's just the truth. You can check out the episode description, and there is a product link there that we recommend. The company is a great company. Studies have been done, Cleveland Clinic, on these products that we've talked about before, but you get a 90-day money back guarantee. And what I also love is the company is now covered by HSA an
Mhm.
FSA account. So that means if somebody wants to use that account, they can pay directly with that account to cover the cost of the supplementation, Amanda.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's awesome. Some of you also today, you might be struggling with just making your health and wellness a priority. Maybe you're low on your energy, maybe it's back pain or just plain stiffness. So, if you're ready to improve your health and enjoy living, I'd love to help you. You can schedule a well body consultation today and receive personalized insights and strategies. So, just click the link in this episode or reach out to support@movementcraft.com. And because you guys are listeners of the Better Than a Pill podcast, you'll get a 50% savings just for letting us know. So, we release new episodes every other week on Wednesday. And I truly look forward to having you join us then. And thank you, Amanda. You are always amazing. You're such an amazing,
Thank you.
we're lucky to have you here. We are.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.